What if Prime Video is hiding sci-fi films that are smarter than the movies everyone keeps recommending? Not the loudest ones, not the biggest franchise titles, the quiet ones, the strange ones, the films that bend time, trap people in space, and turn one small idea into something unforgettable. Some look simple at first, but once they begin, they pull you into questions you cannot easily escape. Number 15, The Vast of Night, 2019. A tiny radio signal becomes the doorway to one of the most mysterious sci-fi films of recent years. The Vast of Night, released in 2019, begins in a small New Mexico town during the 1950s, where a switchboard operator and a radio DJ hear something strange moving through the air. That is all the movie needs. No giant spaceship, no huge battle, just a sound, a night sky, and two curious people chasing a mystery. It feels like an old radio story brought to life, proving that sci-fi can be powerful even when it whispers. Number 14, Prospect, 2018. A dangerous alien moon becomes the setting for a survival story that feels rough, dusty, and real. Prospect, released in 2018, follows a teenage girl and her father as they search for valuable gems on a toxic moon. But this is not a shiny future. Everything feels dirty, broken, and risky. The film plays like a western in space, where greed is just as dangerous as the planet itself. The characters are not perfect heroes. They are desperate people trying to survive. That makes Prospect feel smaller than most sci-fi, but also more human. Number 13, Europa Report, 2013. One of the most realistic space films of the last 20 years is also one many viewers skipped. Europa Report, released in 2013, follows astronauts on a private mission to Jupiter's moon Europa, where life may exist under the ice. The film uses found footage, but it feels serious and controlled. Every mistake matters because the crew is far from Earth and far from rescue. What makes it powerful is its respect for science. It asks one simple question: how far should humans go to find life beyond Earth? The answer is beautiful, frightening, and costly. If you are liking this video, then hit the like button, because hidden sci-fi only survives when real movie fans bring it back into the conversation. Number 12, I Think We're Alone Now, 2018. What if the end of the world did not arrive with fire, screaming crowds, and giant explosions, but with silence? I Think We're Alone Now, released in 2018, takes that idea and turns it into a quiet, lonely sci-fi drama. The story follows Del, a man who believes he may be the last person alive after a mysterious event wipes out most of humanity. Instead of fighting gangs or running through ruined cities, Del spends his days cleaning houses, removing bodies, and organizing an empty town. That routine tells us something important. He is not just surviving, he is trying to control a world that has already ended. Then another survivor arrives, and his quiet life begins to crack. The film becomes less about the apocalypse and more about human connection. Does Del really want company, or has loneliness become his safe place? That is what makes the film interesting. It asks whether survival means anything if no one is left to understand you. Number 11, Archive, 2020. A scientist trying to rebuild love through machines becomes the center of this emotional sci-fi mystery. Archive, released in 2020, follows George, a man working alone in a remote research facility. He is building advanced robots, but he is also hiding a painful secret. At first, the film looks like a story about artificial intelligence. Slowly, it becomes a story about grief. George is not only creating machines, he is trying to hold on to someone he lost. That gives the movie its emotional weight. Many sci-fi films ask whether robots can think. Archive asks whether technology can preserve memory, love, and pain. Can a machine bring someone back? Or does it only create a copy that makes the loss harder to accept? The film's cold, isolated setting matches George's lonely mind. He is surrounded by machines, but still deeply human in his sadness. That is why Archive works. It reminds us that technology may grow smarter, but it cannot always heal the heart. Number 10, Vivarium, 2019. A perfect house becomes a perfect nightmare in one of the strangest sci-fi traps of modern cinema. Vivarium, released in 2019, follows a young couple who visit a housing development called Yonder. Every house looks the same, every street looks the same, and once they enter, they cannot leave. The couple drives in circles, but every road brings them back to the same green house. Food appears in boxes, the sky looks fake, time feels wrong. Then a child is delivered to them with one cold instruction: raise the child and be released. This is not normal sci-fi about aliens or robots. It is about routine becoming a prison. The house looks like a dream of modern life, but it feels dead inside. The movie uses that fake neighborhood to talk about adulthood, pressure, parenting, and the fear of being trapped in a life someone else designed for you. Vivarium is strange, uncomfortable, and hard to forget. Number 9. Synchronic, 2019. A mysterious drug turns time itself into a dangerous place. Synchronic, released in 2019, follows two paramedics in New Orleans who discover that strange deaths may be connected to a new designer drug. But this drug does not simply create hallucinations. It sends people into real moments from the past. That idea gives the film a sharp emotional edge. Time travel is usually shown as fun, clever, or exciting. In Synchronic, time is risky, violent, and unpredictable. The past is not a playground. It is dangerous, especially depending on where you land and who you are. The movie works because it mixes friendship, illness, regret, and sacrifice. One character is facing his own mortality. Another is dealing with family pain. The sci-fi idea becomes personal because time is not just a theory here. It is something people can lose, waste, chase, or die inside. The film asks a haunting question: if time became the only way to save someone, how much would you risk? Number 8. Aniara, 2018. A spaceship heading to Mars becomes a floating prison after one terrible accident. Aniara, released in 2018, begins with people leaving a damaged Earth for a better life on Mars. At first, the journey feels hopeful. People board a huge ship expecting a normal trip to a new future. Then the ship is knocked off course. That is when the film becomes terrifying. The passengers slowly realize they may never reach Mars. They may never reach any destination at all. They are not trapped for a few days. They may be trapped forever. What makes Aniara powerful is how it studies hope as it disappears. People try entertainment, pleasure, religion, memory, and denial just to survive emotionally. But space does not care. It remains empty, silent, and endless. This film is not about heroic astronauts saving the day. It is about ordinary people facing the impossible truth that their lives may now be spent drifting in darkness. The scariest part of space may not be death. It may be endless waiting. Number 7. The Endless, 2017. Two brothers return to a strange group they escaped years earlier, and the truth waiting for them is bigger than they expect. The Endless, released in 2017, begins like a cult mystery. The brothers receive a message from the people they once left behind, and one of them feels pulled back. Once they return, the film slowly changes shape. Time begins to feel strange. The land seems to follow hidden rules. People behave as if they know more than they are saying. The mystery becomes less about a cult and more about something beyond normal human understanding. What makes The Endless effective is its patience. It does not explain everything too quickly. It lets viewers feel confused in the same way the characters feel confused. At its heart, the film is about brotherhood, belief, and repetition. Some people are trapped not only by supernatural forces, but by choices they keep making again and again. It proves that a small movie can create a huge sense of mystery. Number 6. Coherence, 2013. A dinner party becomes a puzzle box when a comet passes overhead. Coherence, released in 2013, is one of the best examples of low-budget science fiction done brilliantly. The setup is simple. Friends gather for dinner. They talk, drink, laugh, and argue. Then strange things begin happening. Phones stop working. Lights go out. A nearby house may contain another version of the same group. Reality begins to crack, but not loudly. It cracks through small details. A missing object, a repeated conversation, a choice that should not be possible. That is why the film is so gripping. It turns normal social tension into cosmic fear. These people already have secrets and old wounds. When reality splits, those problems become dangerous. Coherence rewards attention. Every look matters. Every object matters. Every decision matters. By the end, the viewer is left with a disturbing question. If another version of your life looked better, would you try to steal it? Number 5. The Man from Earth, 2007. One room, a few people, and one impossible claim create one of the most fascinating science fiction films ever made. The Man from Earth, released in 2007, follows Professor John Oldman as he prepares to leave his job. His friends gather to say goodbye. Then he tells them something unbelievable. He has been alive for thousands of years. That is the entire hook. No action scenes, no expensive effects, no giant sets, just people in a room asking questions. But the film becomes gripping because every question leads to another. If John is telling the truth, where was he born? What did he see? How did he survive? If he is lying, why does his story feel so detailed? The brilliance of The Man from Earth is that it turns conversation into adventure. The characters challenge him through history, biology, religion, psychology, and logic. The film also shows the sadness of immortality. Living forever sounds powerful, but it means losing everyone again and again. It proves one great idea can be bigger than any budget. Number 4. Timecrimes, 2007. One man sees something he should not see, and time begins eating itself. Timecrimes, released in 2007, is a Spanish sci-fi thriller about an ordinary man who gets trapped in a time loop. At first, the setup feels small. He notices something strange near his home, investigates, and makes one bad decision. That decision creates another problem, then another. The more he tries to fix things, the more trapped he becomes. That is what makes the film so clever. It treats time travel not like magic, but like a trap made of consequences. The story is tightly built. Every scene connects. Every strange detail matters. The main character is not a genius scientist or trained hero. He is a normal man making frightened choices, which makes the story easier to understand and more uncomfortable. Timecrimes is tense, simple, and extremely smart. It shows that the scariest loop is not time itself. It is the human habit of making one selfish choice, then doing anything to hide it. Number 3. Predestination, 2014. A time travel agent hunting one criminal discovers a truth that changes everything. Predestination, released in 2014, begins like a crime story, with a mysterious agent trying to stop a dangerous bomber. But slowly, the film becomes something much deeper. This is a movie about time, identity, fate, and loneliness. It asks whether people control their lives or simply follow a path already written for them. The structure is tricky, but the emotional story stays clear. At the center is a person shaped by pain, secrets, and impossible turns. What makes Predestination stand out is that every twist has meaning. It is not just trying to shock the viewer. It builds a closed circle where each answer creates another question. The film treats time travel as something dangerous to the soul. Can you escape yourself? Can you change fate? Or do you become the very tool that makes fate happen? By the end, it feels less like a trick and more like a tragedy built out of time.
Number 2. eXistenZ, 1999. A video game becomes so real that reality itself starts to feel fake. eXistenZ, released in 1999, is one of the strangest sci-fi films about virtual reality. The story follows a famous game designer and a security guard as they enter a biological game world after an attack puts her life in danger. But this is not a clean digital world with glowing screens. The game systems feel organic, fleshy, and uncomfortable. The technology seems alive. That gives the movie a weird physical feeling that many virtual reality stories do not have. The film keeps breaking your trust. Are the characters in the real world? Are they inside the game? Are they inside another game? The more the story continues, the harder it becomes to know what is real. That confusion is the point. The film came before online worlds became normal, but it already understood a major fear. When artificial experiences become too powerful, people may stop trusting reality. eXistenZ is weird, messy, clever, and deeply unsettling. Number 1. Under the Skin, 2013. An alien walks among humans, and the result is one of the most haunting science fiction films of the modern age. Under the Skin, released in 2013, does not behave like a normal alien movie. It does not rush to explain everything. Instead, it watches, listens, and makes ordinary places feel strange. That is what gives the film its power. Streets, shopping centers, roads, and lonely rooms suddenly feel alien because we are seeing them through an outsider's eyes. The alien looks human, but she does not understand humanity in a normal way. She observes people, studies them, uses them, and slowly begins to experience vulnerability. The film is quiet, but not empty. It turns human desire into something cold and dangerous. It turns normal conversation into a trap. It makes Earth feel unfamiliar. Most alien films ask what happens when creatures come here. This film asks what humans look like when we are the strange creatures being studied. Some viewers may find it slow or mysterious, but that mystery is why it lasts. Under the Skin does not give easy answers. It leaves images in your mind. At number 1, it is not just hidden sci-fi, it is unforgettable cinema. These 15 hidden sci-fi films prove that the best ideas are not always inside the biggest movies. Some are hiding in quiet rooms, empty towns, broken spaceships, strange signals, impossible timelines, and faces that do not fully belong to this world. They ask questions about memory, identity, survival, technology, loneliness, and what it means to be human. Which one are you watching tonight? Drop your pick in the comments, like the video, and subscribe for more hidden movie treasures.